It causes you to watch what you're saying out of your mouth. Remember, what we speak is what we get, okay? So let's look at these individually. Let's look at the complaining and the belief individually. Complaining, okay, so we're looking at complaining. This is what I thought of when I was doing this study, you guys. Complaining criticizes God's perfect plan and purposes in your life. Okay? Here's another thing that complaining does. Complaining is leprous to your soul. Now, you guys, we're going to use the Bible as our text here. And you know that most of us know about the story of Miriam. Well, Miriam not only complained about her younger brother's choice in a wife, she was also criticizing God's choice in a leader. Okay, so we can read that in Numbers 12. So Miriam turned white as snow, okay, which meant that the disease was rapidly advancing throughout her body. Not only was it eating up her pigmentation, but it was rotting her insides. So what was being seen on the outside was already what was going on the inside. So it was her insides was already rotting, and so it just caused her outsides to become white as snow, and because it was eating away that pigmentation. Yes, for all you guys, she was black. Okay. Miriam was struck first because I see a lot of people were like, well, Miriam was struck and Aaron wasn't struck. God was, she's a woman. He's been no. That her being a female had nothing to do with it. Let me tell you why Miriam was struck first. Miriam was struck because Miriam was the oldest sibling. She was the oldest. So she had more influence over Aaron and Moses than anybody. Well, Moses was a friend of God. He loved God. But Miriam had influence over Aaron, and she had influence over the people. So when she was doing all of this, that people were listening. She was called a prophetess, right? She was the first one that was singing when they came up out of the Red Sea, when God split the Red Sea and they walked through. She was the first one to pick up a tambourine and start singing. She was called a prophetess. Her influence is why she got struck first, because she's the oldest and she was more influential. So that's why. Now, but trust me, Aaron was next. He was next. If Moses hadn't have cried out immediately to God, Aaron would have been next. All right. So that's the thing. That's what she was struck. Now, this is the thing we also have to think about complaining. Complaining keeps you out of your promised land. As we see in the very next 2 chapters after Numbers 12, when Miriam was struck, Numbers 13 and number 14, we see that the events occurred that kept the adults of the children of Israel out of the promised land. They didn't get to see it, not one, except for 2. Not even Moses got to see it. Okay. So complaining keeps you out of your promised land. Now here's an example of what's included in your promised land, just in case you're like, oh, okay, here we go, talking about Israel, promised land, blah, 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 blah. But you got a promised land that God is trying to get you to. And these are some of the things that's included in your promised land. Here's some examples. Your looks, your body, your house, your car, your career, your spouse, your children, future children, children now, seed, your church, your country, your nation, your government. All of that is included in your promised land. Okay, if you want those things to be prosperous and to do well and be well, that's included in your promised land. Okay. Here's another thing. Complaining, when we're looking at complaining, let me go ahead and exit out of here.